Okay, so release assets.
Supporting files, yes. Okay, so I just wanted to call out, I just saw your comment on the issue,
Yep.
Sean, on what we're trying
Yep.
to achieve. I think what we want to do, or what we were planning to do, is based on our last sync, we had 3 options
Yep.
of supporting the files, right? One was going with what Kras did, which was uploading the files directly in CI in a different job, and then just attaching like a URL, this direct asset link to the release. And option 2 is what I did from the release CLI side, which was
Yep.
basically doing the same thing, but behind the scenes, like not needing a new, that other step to do the upload. And I think what I propose with these issues of having the upload dir and having the package name, package version, is like the continuation of option 2, right? So doing this upload of the binaries or the files behind the scenes. And the discussion right now is like, I guess, going with option 3 that Kras was proposing, which is actually extending the API to upload the files via the API.
I guess, yeah, I got a bit confused along the way because when we first started on this, I thought the original intention was to specify in the release YAML that we would have these assets and then they would magically be uploaded somewhere, and then we didn't kind of even really know where at one point because we were talking about the Maven registry. So then we said, let's have a generic. I think the registry package team actually pushed this. We had to have our own registry, and so you've built that, Kras, the generic.
Yep.
Am I saying this correctly? And so then the next step was to get the files up there.
Well, yeah, but it's basically what Jaime said. Sorry, but my comment that started the listed discussion. I think we should just keep the option 2, which is uploading to the generic package registry from the release CLI. Because what we have now is basically we are taking use of that new feature, generic packages, to store release assets there. But it's basically workaround. And if we go the way with option 2 and implement this in the release CLI, we're like officializing the workaround and coupling those 2 features together. And in my opinion, I might be wrong, we should skip this and leave it as is for now, and eventually look at adding support to the release API for like handling uploads, which will be like totally new type of upload, similar to packages or avatars or whatever attachments, probably stored in a new bucket. And you can just you should be able to upload release assets from the release API. That could be either extension to the current create update endpoints, or maybe a new endpoint. So you first create a release and then you upload assets to it or something. Because other than coupling those 2 issues together and like officializing the workaround, other problems I can see is like what happens if you delete a release? If the assets uploads are related to the release, then we'll clean them up. But if it's somewhere in the generic packages registry, we can only assume that you followed some convention and those are the packets we want to delete. There was something else I was thinking about, I forgot about now. So yeah, that's my point. I hope it's more clear now.
Yeah.
I'm
Because
not 100%, I gotta say.
And in order to implement this, we need to update the CI YAML syntax. And we basically are adding to the syntax section to officialize the workaround. And once we have this, we'll have to like support it forever, even if we go with option 3 eventually.
Okay, so no, I'm a bit lost. Sorry, because I thought which part, right? No, because isn't the purpose of the so is the problem that we have two separate APIs? We have an API to the package registry, and then we have a separate API to the release.
Yeah, that was the other thing. The other problem I was thinking is with the package registry, I'm not sure we can even add this and use it from the UI. We might be able, we might not. I'm not sure about this. When you're creating release, how are you going to upload release assets from that page if you have to put them in the generic packages via a separate API?
Oh, if you add them manually, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we need to we want to add this to the UI too, right? You just upload some binary.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. So yes, I think let's put that aside. Yes, we do though. We do want to add by the UI, but because you know, if we go back to the, I'm looking from the perspective of the release YAML, and so the example I just did this morning, I tried to take what you have already done, Jaime, basically using a script, right? And so we need to answer all those questions that you've just raised, Kraz. But you know, we have these links, and we even have a link type of package that we don't basically do anything with. So we've kind of reached a bit of a dead end in the direction there. But I always thought that the idea was that the YAML would give directions to the releaser CLI, and then the releaser CLI would orchestrate the actual work. And in this case, would that mean two API calls, right? Like an API call to upload the pack, you know, to upload the assets to the package registry, and another API call back to, you know, to create the release and then link all that stuff. So we do have an issue that you've raised, Kraz, in what happens if you change or delete the release. How do we coordinate that? That's definitely an issue. But I guess I don't really understand. So is the alternative? I just don't really understand the three options that clearly, actually. So back to option 2. Is option 2, if we don't use the release YAML, we're doing it with scripts? Is that correct?
No, I think option 2 is using release YAML and moving the actual upload to the release CLI. But it will, instead of the user in their job uploading to the generic packages, it will be the release CLI tool that will do the upload, get the resulting URLs, and then use those URLs to the call to the release API.
Oh yeah, that's kind of what I thought with this last example. I'll just screen share so we can.
Yeah, I'm looking at your comments. So.
Yeah, so if I go back to the original example that Jaime created.
This is Kraz's example.
Oh, this is yours, is it? Okay, sorry. Yep. Okay, so you know, in this example, you know, we're creating the binaries. We're creating a folder to store those binaries in. And then we've got this, you know, this upload. We've got this upload stage that that basically, you know, so this is put them in the package registry, right? This step, And then at the end, then we have all in a script tag that we're linking. We're creating a release, and then we're creating the asset links. And so I guess what my idea, and I thought what the original intention was, but maybe I had this confused, was then this would just, we don't do any script tag, right? So we just have, okay, so we need to, there's a few things that need to be sorted out. Like, you know, I've created this variable, you know, a staging directory for the binaries.
Yeah.
You know, so then we just have a build and release step. And in the release step, it, you know, it just has all the information for each of the files that are already, you know, that have been put by the build step into this you know, this upload directory. And then because then Rails just creates the command line command that it sends to the release, and then the releaser does it. And so maybe this would need to change, but you know, would output something like this. And
so yeah, that's basic. Yeah, go on, Simon.
Oh yeah, sorry. So this is following this previous example, and I guess in my head and where we got lost in the translation there, I propose having this upload dir, where you just tell the release CLI, hey, I want you to upload these binaries.
Yeah.
I don't care about the asset link name or the URL.
Sure.
Just upload them, and then you know you take care of that linking of those.
Yeah. So that's an extension, right? So in that case, maybe that could be another option, right? Where we have this directory and we just say whatever's in this directory, all the files in this directory upload to the package registry and then create links for all of them.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, I think we could also support that. And I think that would, if we did that, then that would be, you know, well, in some ways it would be a simpler version of this. But I also feel that we've gone and created this structure, but we don't really kind of use it.
Well, it's not there yet, right? It's not.
It's a funny thing, actually.
In the YAML yet.
It's a funny thing. It's not in the documentation, but it is actually there. It doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Huh.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah. It's even in the I'm not sure how this happened, but it's in the API. But we don't have
it. It is in the API, but is it in the
Yeah.
YAML? Does the YAML recognize it? Yeah.
Oh
okay.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, it recognizes it, but it doesn't do anything with it.
Okay.
So it validates it, for example. Yeah, it validates it, but doesn't send it back to the releaser.
Okay. Yeah. So
but that could be part. That could be part of this.
Asking, I think.
Yeah. So that could be this issue, though. We could do that.
Yeah. I mean, we can do, the release CLI already supports passing this exactly what you have in here, right? But in this issue, it was like this automatic upload without without relying on the upload staging dir.
Yeah. Okay. So the upload staging dir, can we just talk about that a bit? Because so I guess this is really defining a common location between these stages, right? You know, like the build stage puts the files somewhere, and then the release stage gets those files from somewhere, and that somewhere is this upload dir, right? And so would this be how you would do this? You would create an environment variable to pass that information between the two stages.
Yes, that bit, yes, but the part that is missing.
Or is there a better way of doing it? Put it that way.
Well, it depends. If it's never changing, it can be just hard-coded string, right? If it's always /bin, you don't need environment variable.
Yeah. Or we could default it and then allow people to override it.
So Jaime, in your vision for that option, if we provide upload dir, what we're gonna set for name, URL, and link type?
So if
people want to set this, they'll not have the option, right?
I think in my vision is mutually exclusive. You either say assets link, and I rely on you saying the URL exists, and I'm gonna create the direct asset link with what you tell me. But if you give me the upload dir, I will do that in behind the scenes, and I will create the asset links with the names that I like the release CLI will define. You see both my points. Like I wouldn't use both of them at the same time.
Yeah, but which was the option where you can have like the URL redirect, where you have like some customer facing URL, but it actually sends to the actual binary URL.
Yeah, that's in the link. That's an optional. That's this.
Was it link path. Or
file path? Yeah. So that you could also include that. You could have it. So that just gives it a different name.
Well,
So
I'm
maybe
okay.
yeah.
I'm more inclined to keep this with the links, and you can have name, URL, link type, but having an optional path or some other keyword that specifies the actual file, which will be uploaded and used, instead of having a dir and like grab everything and upload it. Because I feel it's giving more control to people, but it could be also more verbose if you don't care for many of these and you just want to upload all the files in that dir. But either way, I think we should not implement this with the generic package registry because of the reasons I tried to explain earlier. And if we go this way, like if we want to do this, we should actually add support to the release API for uploads.
Yeah, and that way, any file that is uploaded this way is always going to be related to a release, right? You don't have to worry about this package name or package version.
Exactly, because now it's just a workaround. You can use it, you can not use it, you can use generic packages for something else. But if we go deeper integrating it, like adding support in the release CLI and the YAML syntax, we just keep coupling these two features together, which I just feel it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Put it
no, I'm sorry for being thick, but I still don't kind of understand the blocker there, because yeah, why wouldn't we want to put them in the generic package registry?
Because
because isn't that what we built it for, to put these assets in?
Well, as a workaround, not forever. Like, at least that's my understanding. We wanted some quick feature to let people put those assets somewhere, and we built generic packages. They can use it there, but I think that should be enough, and we should not go further and build on top of this more.
Okay, and then so what would the better direction? So in that case, we would shelve the generic package registry, and use some other data store.
Yeah, it will be just like adding support for uploads to the releases API. Like when you do a call to create a release, you can also have a file, like when you're uploading file, or have a dedicated endpoint for uploading a file for release that's already created. That's how I feel it should be better.
And so these would just go in object storage.
Yeah, that we'll have to like add a new type of upload, which will have like its own bucket and same as like everything else. And we'll clean up when you delete the release and all that stuff, which is way more work than what the other option. But I just feel it's the right way to go. Then, because we gave the people quick. Yeah, we gave customers quick and like kind of dirty way to put these binaries somewhere, but I think that's enough, and we should not integrate more on top of it.
Yeah.
Because if you go to the other tab shown with my example from the docs, the tab on the right, basically that option, that upload job in the middle where we manually upload to the generic packages, with the option 2, which I think we should not do, we're replacing this with just single upload dir and then moving all that stuff to the release CLI, which will be easier for users, but it's still same like hacky workaround. We just like hide it further down the chain. And once we do it, we'll have to like pretty much keep this forever, right? And even if we want to go the other way and make it better, we'll still have to support this.
The missing part is that I thought that we had, I didn't realize it was kind of a workaround. I thought we had done the generic package registry for this purpose, but I understand what you're saying now, and we can just upload it through the release API to some, to a new type of upload with its own bucket.
Well, there is obviously some confusion around why we built the generic packages, and Maybe it's just for me, but when I was talking with Jackie and she asked me to work on this, and I was like, why are we gonna do this? It's packaged, like we have other stuff to do. Is it to use it for releases? And she told me yes. But I immediately assumed it's like the workaround, and I've never actually expressed it explicitly and confirmed that this is just for now and later we'll do further. Because it has its own limitation, like it's generic packages. You need to provide package name, you need to provide version. And when creating release, you don't need package name. You already have version. So I mean, like, it's usable. Even if we build proper support for releases, uploads, people can still decide to use the generic packages with the example here from the docs. I just feel we should not go further.
No, I understand what you're saying, Chris. Okay, so yeah, I hadn't realized that we had those issues there. So I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to go back through some of the historical issues, because I think there was a push to, it might have been by the package team, but I thought there was, where the idea for the package registry came from was there was someone was promoting it. I can't quite remember where the idea came from, but if it, you know, in a way, it's actually simpler to just have a new bucket and just upload them, you know, directly from the release API. Everything's in the domain of release. There's no, yeah, I mean, I vote for that if that's what we should do.
Well, yeah, like I said, it's more work, but I feel it's better, and I don't see why I don't see a reason why we not to do it this way and stick to the generic packages. Maybe I'm missing it, but
I mean, it is more work at the moment, but in the long term, it's actually a simpler solution, right? Because we don't have this dependency on a registry.
Yeah, true. So at least,
I mean, it's not that much more work, right? We just have to create a bucket and an uploader and extend the API.
Well, yeah, and like change the API or add new endpoint or
yeah, we probably added a separate endpoint maybe for those.
Well, it will be handy if you can do it all with one call when creating the release.
Okay,
but
sure.
Then if you have like, if you want to have like 3 binaries and each of them is big, that might be like not very like performant with single requests. So we should find out when we start working on this. But
Chris, you know, the generic package registry, it's I haven't looked at the code, but it's inside the main Rails app, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I know it's a dumb question, but
it's not a trick question. It's just a new, like
it's an API.
New set of great APIs endpoints. Like it's under lib API generic packages.
It's not a separate service.
No, it's just an API endpoint. That's why I can use it with URL and personal token or job token.
Okay. So in that case, just to summarize then, are we proposing that we go with this, you know, this, well, so we don't need this package name anymore, right? Right.
Well, if we go that way, yeah.
And do we still have the upload tier, or do we maybe default it?
I don't think.
We should decide. Yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah. I think it probably makes more sense to mimic what the API is expecting rather than trying to be smart, right? And trying to just do the uploads of whatever files.
Well, if we just say, but you know, we have name, right? So name is the file name, right?
Yeah.
Because we have file path where you get an opportunity to rename the file.
But how would you go on about, you have a list of files, and how do I determine the file path that you want to use? Would you do it? Would you specify it by name? So say you have 4 files in your directory, and then we would need to match the file name with the name that you specify in the asset bit in the YAML.
Yep.
And then do that linking with the file path. Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah, the file path is an alias for the. It's an alias for the URL.
Yeah.
Right. So okay. So you know, so in this case, I mean, we could dispense with the upload directory. Well, the thing is, I also do like the idea of just having a directory. Just put everything in that directory up, you know, as a shorthand. But there's also, you know, you might also, so in that case, you wouldn't specify assets because you just specify the upload directory, and all those things would just become assets.
I think that would be the simplest iteration in this. Yes.
Yeah, it would actually.
Because if you define both, then it complicates a bit the logic, right? And trying to match the file that I found in the directory with the one that you sent, that you specify in the YAML.
Sure, makes it more complicated. Yeah. So okay, in that case, we would specify upload directory, and then that would be that information. So this wouldn't be passed from Rails to the releaser. This whole section, we wouldn't even have this here, because you would just get the upload directory, and whatever was in there, you would create as an asset. You would create as a link. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So that's like my idea. So it's either one of the two, right? You either specify the directory, or you specify the links. Like perhaps the upload directory can even be inside the assets keyword, right?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that's
okay.
That
My vision was not vision, but idea is like you don't have directory, just under asset links, next to name, link, type, and URL, you have one more keyword for the file, for the path to the file that you want to upload. So you have to be list explicit each one of these.
Yep.
If you provide file, we upload the file and use then maybe the URL will be redundant, because when you upload the file, you know the URL, and you can have the file path alias or something like this. I haven't thought it through the end, but something like
you're right.
What
the URL,
something
the URL.
like what Nathan was expecting from the syntax.
Let's have a look at that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like this asset links name, and then the path. If it's not conflicting, is just some path to the artifact from previous jobs, and we upload this file and use the name provided, or default to the file name if nothing is provided, something like this.
So in this case, this is the upload directory here, right? It's just specified in the path. Yeah. That's
but like people may not even have directory. They may just like build everything in the local dir, and just as long as it's a path to the file, the release CLI should be that should be enough for the release CLI to get the file and upload it, right?
Yep. As long as it has access to it, it's fine.
And so this, when we have name, this is the name that we're gonna. This is the actual file name, right? Mock bin.
Yeah, that's like display name that you see in the release.
This is the display name. Okay, yeah. So if I like this, but so I just want to point out one thing. If we do that, then we kind of got two separate, quite different types of links in YAML, right? Because we have our current. These are basically external links at the moment, right? Like if I go to right, these can be anywhere. These can be up in S3 or whatever, right? And I don't know. I kind of think that we don't want to mix them too much, and maybe we need to have a different type of link.
Maybe, yeah. One option is to have the same links, but if there is file provided, then we use this file, upload it, and use the URL. So the URL is like not used. Or if you have URL, then it's external link, and like those can't be together or something like this. or if we find it's clear, we have like new section that's uploads, and we just like
that's kind of what I'm thinking, because I think that links, I would, if we were starting from today, I would have made this existing stuff external links, right? And then our internal stuff links. However, we've already, we would have to, if there's people, there's people using this already, right? So I don't think we should change the naming on this.
Yeah, we have to keep this. We should either extend it in a way that's backward compatible, or have something totally new that will be for our uploads.
Yeah, I like the idea of having another, at this level, a different node.
Like, it could be assets uploads, and that will match the expected payload for the API request. Like you have uploads, and then it's your file and any other details you may need for that file.
So what if we call it?
That's one option too. Yeah.
What if we call it uploads?
Well, yeah, it makes sense to me, at least now. Tomorrow I may have another.
You mean per link upload or
what I'm proposing is we create a new node called uploads at the same level as links, right? And then under that we have this, instead of links here it says uploads, and then we just have there's only two entries underneath each.
So you wouldn't, but would you still create that direct asset link? That pretty URL.
Oh, you could also okay.
They can have similar functionality. Just one is explicitly external links, and the other is upload that you provide the file for.
Well, in fact, there's 4 fields, right? There's 4 fields because there's file path. So we could, using this field, a link type that we're not actually really using for anything, we could use that to control which field. If you had package, then we don't accept URL, but we do accept name and file path.
But it would be more complicated.
Are these links
not just from the code side, but like for users, it would be so confusing.
It's already pretty. There's a lot there.
I think we probably will find more once we at least do a spike or something on it, but maybe completely new node on the same level as links will be simpler, because you can just keep using whatever we have now and not use the other, or start using the other.
And then you just specify not directory, file or path file. Yeah.
Okay, so if we keep it under the existing asset links node, then we'll always have some if this then that, if you have file, then don't use the URL or something like this.
Let me just copy this. I'm going to put it in your comment.
Is this the one you want to copy, or the one from?
Yeah, as a starting point, I want to put everything in. All right. So, full example. So this is actually that's not a good example. Yeah, you're right. So if we go back and grab this. So we call this something else, right? We have a new node. And this is the old version. So this is, my file in S3, path to S3. Link type. Yeah, link type.
Is this currently just like a label, and it doesn't?
Yeah, it's not used for anything. Maybe we should. I don't know what we should do with that, but okay, we make it other.
Well,
Okay,
if
so let's just
people are setting it, we can't do much more.
Yeah.
Than go.
Well, see,
to
at one point
duplication.
we were going to have runbooks, and runbooks are currently not on. It doesn't do anything at the moment. It's a text string. Yeah. Okay. So then we have. Do we call it uploads, or maybe we iterate on what it should be called?
Yeah. Let's.
And so then we have name. And do we want to call it file path to?
Yeah, probably because the organic URL will not be pretty, and users may want to like simplify it, and basically the same as the external links now.
So that's optional, and these two are not optional.
Well, name could be optional too. Like if you don't provide it, we use the file name or something.
The file name, yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yep. Oh, damn.
So you would just use name as a pretty name, right? And
yeah, basically. I think that's what it's used for now on the releases page. This is what you see for the link.
Sorry, my computer's been a bit. Okay, so that this is also optional, and this is mandatory.
if you just upload there.
And so then if we go with, I mean,
so
yeah.
Question. This means is completely new, right? So we don't need to set this new direct asset link concept that we have in the API.
Well, this is a different,
yeah. So are we gonna extend the API to have this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other option is to, if we want to keep it under assets links, is maybe like Sean mentioned, add a new link type that could be upload, and then we do something different. If we're gonna eventually do this for runbooks, like if the link type will mean something, it may also mean upload. Just listing this as an option. I'm not like saying it's better. Just something to consider.
You think we should have
the only thing that's changing is the path, right? It's not. I don't know if we really need a new node. If we can just add a new field.
I think it'd be good if we don't have a new node.
Yeah, it's just the path makes the URL redundant, because we'll generate the URL once we upload the file, and we'll have like URL as a result. So it's either URL or path.
Yes. So we can do that validation, right? Like you can't have both. You either have URL or path. If you have path, we try to upload the file.
So in that case, we would keep the existing links, but it would just be you either provide URL or path.
Yep. Yeah, sort of.
And then we have file path. The name is a bit confusing, but we can put it in the documentation.
Yeah, which will be URL or path in the release in the CI YAML, but it will probably be called file or something else in the actual API payload. Well, we can call it path, then it just doesn't make sense in the context of the API request, right?
Let's call it file. Well, yeah, in fact, file is actually a better. It's
well, I don't know, because in CI it's usually called path for like artifacts, like Nathan mentioned, pointed out. So anyway, it's just naming. So it's
in fact, I would call it file path, except that we've already used that for something else.
So yeah, that's the other option. Maybe we should list this one too. But anyway, it's like it doesn't change much the bulk of the work that needs to be done. It's just like the interface to the user, right? Because everything else is basically the same. You need to have change the API to upload this file somewhere. We'll probably need to have limits per file, in total per project. All those limits we usually try to set. That's still something that, so we don't have this. We have limit per file for packages, but we don't have total limit. So it's it's a bit like something that's still missing.
Okay, sorry, I keep jumping around here, but okay, so in that case, we go back to this, where it's all under links.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just trying to think out what we deliver for this release. For this release,
I don't think we can deliver anything for this release if we go that way.
No, I think we could deliver some. I think what we could deliver is supporting this new YAML and sending it to the releaser.
But the releaser want to
put it behind a feature flag, and then maybe in the next release we do the back end part with the storage.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's delivered to the end users, because from their point of view, nothing will change, right? It will take some time to build the whole thing.
No, that's right. So for this cycle 13.6, we can support this new, we can have the API endpoint, but it just doesn't do anything, right? So we have the API endpoint that the releaser can interact with. We have this new YAML, but we don't yet have the backend storage. And then the releaser in the next release, maybe the releaser can be modified and we can do the backend, and then the whole thing's finished.
Yeah, if we're gonna start like this, then we have to make sure this is the syntax we want, and we should agree on what will be the API endpoint and request. Because once we have this, it's hard to change. At least the syntax, because the API will not be visible to users yet, and we can still change it. But we should be, pretty certain that the syntax we choose is the one we want to have, and gives us more like the best flexibility and backward compatibility at the same time.
So at this point, then perhaps what we should do is kind of maybe wind this meeting up, and I can put in a proposal for the API, what the API would look like, and then let Jackie and whoever else wants to take a look at it.
If we can also write down a summary of the meeting and list those options and explain why we don't want to do what we were planning to do now. I guess that will make it easier for the rest of the team, because otherwise they need to watch that whole meeting and follow all the discussions.
I got to say, I got a bit lost in some of the options too, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Because eventually that it's not just our decision. We should talk with Jackie and the wider team too. Yeah,
it's a pretty big decision. I think it's a pretty big but I think it's also the right decision. But maybe we'll do some iteration on it and Okay, awesome.
Cool. Okay. I tried documenting this in a Google Docs. I'll try sharing. I don't know how to share with everyone. So
I think there is somewhere share with all the GitLab around, but it's hidden. So, but anyway, thank you very much for taking notes, because I never can do both in a meeting.
It's challenging. Like I'm hearing, and then I want to say something, and what was I going to say?
Jaime, why don't you just paste the notes into the issue? I don't think there's any reason. They're not confidential.
Yeah.
But,
I can do that. Simply.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the notes. I'm terrible at that, by the way.
No worries. It's just a draft, it's not polished, so I'm just kind of
well, take your time, because it would be good just to kind of as you're saying, not to have to watch the whole video because it's almost 45 minutes. So okay, all right, so I'll stop the recording.
Yep.
Stop recording, stop share.